welcome to this seminar on improving access to psychological therapies, which is focusing particularly on reaching out to communities. I think there's been a great deal of change structurally within the NHS. The reform and movement towards GP consortia is a very big change for the NHS, but within that, certainly in terms of the work that I lead, community engagement, which is what this conference absolutely is about, the value of that has been recognized over the years, and that's hugely important because one of the key aims of the NHS reform is the need for ensuring that any willing provider, well, the providers are in this room, the community groups who need to be empowered, more empowered, to develop in some of the ways that they have already done.
The main objective was to learn what are the facilities available in Wandsworth which I wasn't aware of. And by coming today, I've learned a lot and how I can help my community, that I am one of the leaders of my community.
I got a lot of learning from listening some more to communities and some of the challenges of public agencies as well, and how people see things differently.
Specifically, we were looking at how people from these communities conceptualise anxiety and depression.
Communities as well, what would you say to them to get themselves more involved and to help them educate themselves about what's available to them?
I think for all of us there's a real issue with regard to prevention. I think the idea of talking therapists, I train people in talking therapists, is great, but we've got to think more and more about prevention. So how can we work with communities at a very early stage, through schools, through religious groups, to have a sense where we heal communities so that individuals lead less talking therapies.
Okay, so with this business model and these toolkits and things that you've got going on, how effective do you expect them to be, and how are you expecting to measure the results from it?
Okay, a very good question. There's a couple of things, because everyone that uses an IAPT service does these rating scales that says whether they improve or not. We can find out whether people are improving. People's ethnicity is recorded, so we can find out if we're getting people representative proportion of people from a local population, and we can find out whether their mental health is improving, so we can do all of that. But the ultimate test is that, we've got a website where people can download these things. How many people are approaching the website? How many people are downloading them? And what we're finding is that the translated materials are very popular.
It's about also getting the right balance between community expectations and how much risk, as a trust, as a statutory body, we are able to take, and the fact that we have these things called governance arrangements. It's basically about us being held to account for what we do. In the NHS, we're very good at saying, oh, I don't think we can do it that way, or we haven't done it like that before. And what I like about WCEN is they kind of say, well, why not? And what if we sort of maybe tweak it a bit and think about, so they're constantly looking for a way through what is often a very complex maze, if you like, and they don't give up.
I think primarily the key thing for me was that we can see that there's been a definite targeting and shifting to engage the community, and I think that is so important right now, considering all the cuts that is happening and the fallout of some of that stuff. And so we need to let the community know that there is somewhere where they can go and access a service that they can come and share their problems. And it's very much about minimising some of the negative effects some of these social changes are going to have, but more importantly, sort of letting people know that if they want to access a service, they don't have to go in at the critical end. It's very much about getting people at the early stages of their illnesses.
Hi, my name's Jeremy Weinstein from Banham Community Counselling Service, but also here representing LINK, the Local Involvement Network. I would like clarification of what you define as recovery.
So you fill out these questionnaires. Those questionnaires give you a numeric score. Depending on what that score is, you are into a category of not depressed or anxious, mild, moderate to severe. So recovery is the number of people who at the end, that the last time they do that measure, are in that group which says not depressed or not anxious.
Part of the problem which we have, and I was speaking to my colleague Katrina earlier on, about what are the type of things I'm going to talk about. And Katrina says, well, Malik, you've just got to state the bleeding obvious and stop mucking about with PowerPoints and slides and so on and so forth, and just tell it as it is. And a lot of my colleagues here will know that the skills, experience, knowledge, know-how, legitimacy, credibility, pathways, access to communities, how to design services, how to deliver services is actually in the hands of all these communities over here.
We had a call from somebody at IAPT introducing this weird concept of non-Christian professionals coming into church and delivering this unchurched service to strange, unchurched people. And we said, yeah, let's go for it. Let's take a risk. Now for us, it's a risk. For IAPT, it's a risk because they'd never worked with a church organization before, and we'd never worked with an organization like IAPT.
Normally, therapies are delivered in GP surgeries, and our dream was, could therapies be delivered in temples? Could they be delivered in mosques or churches, in local community settings? So that was kind of our dream.
And what did you think about the toolkit that was so well put together as well?
Oh yeah, it was really good. I saw a draft of it before. It's really good. It's a useful tool to take away that people can think, yeah, I could use this. So it's really handy. You go to a lot of conferences that you kind of talk a lot and you don't take anything away. So.
And how useful is an event like today, and what did you really get from it?
I got a lot of learning from listening some more to communities and some of the challenges of public agencies as well, and how people see things differently.
Instead of expecting people to come to you, you going to people, you going to the places where people go. And I think that's very important. And you know, some of the innovation that Judy's referring to there, I think, in the ones with service, is all about that. And that map that you saw with all these different sites where these services potentially will be. So I think, you know, in some ways, IAPT is a new kind of service trying to address a new kind of problem, and it's doing a better job at reaching.
What did you think about the workshop, and do you think that there's something in this toolkit that you could use?
Well, for me, it'll be a bit of a map. My role will be a new role. I'm new to mental health commissioning, and so it will be like my Bible when I start my job. I value toolkits because it's a quick and easy way to pick up the best practice.